right, a full-packed Pakhuis de Zwijger. That's amazing. Welcome, everybody. Of course, on Indigenous Liberation Day 2021, I'm going to welcome you in my own indigenous language from West Papua. One of them. Wa, 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 wa. Welcome to Indigenous Liberation Day 2022 on behalf of Pakhuis de Zwijger, RLS, Washikwa, Free West Papua Campaign, AFK Amsterdam, en mediapartner Nieuwij, Amerikaans Holocaust, Milieudefensie en Stimuleringsfonds voor de creatieve industrie. My name is Rocky Up. I'm going to switch to English. My name is Rocky Up, a former military servant, today working as civil servant under the Ministry of Interior, but for most of the people in this room, probably familiar as the international spokesperson of Free West Papua Campaign, or as the all-round activist. It's an absolutely pleasure and honor for me to stand here in front of you and being invited by RLS to be your moderator today. Context of the event. This event is organized every year by RLS with a coalition of partners in relation to October 12th, the day that marks the symbolic beginning of one of the greatest catastrophes for indigenous peoples worldwide. The day that started the relentless colonization for more than 500 years, as Columbus invaded the New World. It meant the beginning of genocide, robbery, land theft, and oppression. That is why it is important to stop celebrating this day, but to reflect instead on the continuing struggle for decolonisation and reparations, but most of all, indigenous resistance. Our goal today is to be in solidarity with indigenous peoples, to decolonize and repair damage on our people and environment. For this purpose, we have invited two international keynote speakers for the plenary opening to talk about ongoing colonization and reparations. Next, we are also fundraising today for the indigenous frontline communities in Brazil and are going to move into different breakout sessions that we will introduce later. We will close off with cultural performances. It is not possible to ask questions during the plenary, but the breakout rooms will be, however, more interactive. Today, we would like to kick off our first 80-20 fundraising campaign. As indigenous people, note, make up only 5% of world's population, they protect 80% of world's remaining biodiversity. However, when it comes to sustainable financing, not even a fraction of 1% of the international NGO money related to sustainability goes to frontline indigenous communities. If the land and indigenous rights are protected, then we are protecting 80% of world's biodiversity. This is why they are the most essential stakeholder in preventing a further climate and biodiversity catastrophe. That is why today we launched the 80-20 campaign, in which 80% of the fundraising goes to a frontline community, and in which we will use the remaining 20% to invest in next year's campaign and the fight against climate racism and raising awareness within the climate movement about the fact that the climate crisis is a colonial crisis. This way, we challenge the less than 1% of climate funding going to indigenous communities. It should be 80% at least. This is climate racism at work. And that's why we're talking about it and educating each other, because it is relevant. This year, 80% of your donations will go directly to Chief Dada and his community in the Amazon. Also, he will be our first keynote speaker of this opening session which I will introduce you shortly. You can donate by scanning the QR code where you find the Tiki link, where you can donate directly. After every 30 donations, the Tiki link will stop working. So we will refresh it. Since we are here with about 300 people, we would like to refresh this Tiki at least 10 times. Another option is cash donations at the information desk right in the hall. So, background on urgency of solidarity with indigenous peoples of Brazil. In 2019, under Bolsonaro's rule, the current president of Brazil, deforestation in the Amazon was the highest in 11 years, accounting for about 10,000 square kilometers of cleared forest, with a further increase of 23% in 2020. Also, Brazil currently has the third highest number of indigenous people being murdered in the world according to data from Global Witness. A problem that we see across the globe where indigenous land defenders are killed on a weekly basis. The Dutch government is also complicit in the destruction of the Amazon by advising and aiding the Brazilian government on infrastructural projects to get resources out of the Amazon in relation to trade agreements that are in effect. Also, commercial banks and pension funds are complicit in the destruction of the environment and indigenous rights violations. According to fair finance guides made by both ends, 21 banks, insurers and pension funds that are currently active in the Dutch market are also involved in soy and beef-driven deforestation in the Amazon region right now. To be specific, 6 out of the 7 Dutch banks, 5 out of the 9 insurance companies, and 10 out of 10 Dutch pension funds have financial relationship with one or more deforestation businesses. This is why we need to be in solidarity with Chief Dada. Chief Dada is a known indigenous chief and forest defender from the Brazilian Amazon. He lives in the municipality Santarém, Pará-State, Brazil. Pará-State has been for years Brazil's leading deforestation state. It is known as the lawless state or the Wild West of the Amazon. Chief Dada is a known indigenous leader in the lower Tapajós, a forest crime hotspot, and lower Amazon. Hired gunmen tried to take his life on various occasions. He has personal police protections since more than 10 years. He will speak in Portuguese with somebody translate in English. This year, 80% of your donations will go directly to Chief Dada and his community. You can donate by scanning, as I mentioned before, the QR code after you will receive Tiki link, where you can donate directly. Now, I would ask Chief Dada to come forward and give his keynote, please. A warm and big applause for Chief Dada. Technician, both mics, please. This one as well.
And if it doesn't work, go here.
Boa noite a todos.
Good evening, everyone.
Quero iniciar essa fala
I would like to start
com a
this
palavra
speech
surara,
with
que
the
diz
word
assim, somos
surara.
guerreiros. Quero ver todo mundo aí. Surara!
That means we are fighters.
Todo mundo é forte.
Everyone is strong.
Sou cacique da terra indígena Maró, sou cacique geral.
I am the General Chief of the Indigenous Land Maro.
Sou de um programa de proteção defensor de direitos humanos.
I am part of the program of defense of the human rights.
Desde o ano de 2006 entrei no programa.
Since 2006.
Por defender vida.
To defend lives.
E aqui eu quero apresentar
And I would like to introduce
duas pessoas que trabalham comigo há muito tempo.
Two people that work with me for a long time.
Professor Gilberto César Lopes Rodrigues, professor da UFOPA.
Professor Gilberto César Lopes Rodrigues.
Ali.
He is there.
Sargento Amauri, que faz a minha escolta policial desde 2006.
Sergeant Amauri, that does my security since 2006.
E desde 2015,
Since
eu conheci uma
2015,
pessoa muito importante que
I met someone very important
só fortaleceu a minha luta enquanto
that
defensor
only strengthened my fight as a defender
e vigilante da terra indígena dos territórios da Amazônia.
and guard of 2 territories of the Amazon Indigenous Land.
Amigo Tim,
Our
Força
friend
da Floresta.
Tim, from Forest Forces.
Bom, e os demais, Nick,
And the others,
todo mundo aqui, a
Nick
família Tim e
and
família Nick, eu sempre costumo falar assim.
Tim family and Nick's family.
Muito obrigado pela
Thank you very
oportunidade
much for the opportunity.
desse espaço, né, para que
For
vocês
this
possam
space.
estar ouvindo a voz da Amazônia.
You can hear the voice of the Amazon
E esse clamor por
And
nós
this-
indígenas, que no qual vivenciamos e sofremos todos
in
os
this
dias lá.
shout that we indigenous people every day have to make.
Pelo ataque do grande agronegócio,
Because of
plantio
the
de soja, arroz e
Attacks
milho,
of the big agri business and the farmers of rice and corn.
projeto de manejo madeireiro,
The project of land wood lockers,
e exploração de minério, ouro, bauxita,
and
ferro.
exploiting minerals like gold, bauxita, and
Esses são,
iron.
esses são os tipos de câncer
These are the kinds of
que está
cancer
matando aos
that
poucos a
are
Amazônia.
killing the Amazon slowly.
Eu aqui quero lembrar uma fala que eu
I'd
fiz
like
hoje
to remember, say again something that I said today
pela parte da manhã lá
In the morning.
lá em Bristol,
in Bristol.
que estava participando de um festival de filme,
I was participating of a film festival,
e a pergunta foi:
and the question was,
a gente somos defensores da floresta,
are we defenders of the forest?
fazemos os grandes filmes com os animais, com as
We-
árvores,
We make big movies about animals and trees.
uma coisa muito linda,
It's beautiful, very beautiful,
mas não é o suficiente,
but that's not enough
porque eles não estão, os grandes filmes não passam
because these big films,
a
they
luta do
don't
defensor do
show
indígena
the fight of the indigenous
que
guard
protege os
that
animais,
protects the animals
que protege as
and the
árvores,
trees
que protege o rio,
and the river
os lagos e igarapés.
and all the streams, the smaller rivers.
E daí eles ficaram muito pensando, poxa, a gente pensava que a gente estava fazendo
And they
tudo.
were
Eu falei,
thinking-
não, ainda não é tudo, ainda não é suficiente,
They were
precisam fazer mais.
thinking, they started thinking, wow, this is not enough. It's not yet enough. We need to do more.
E O fato de hoje estar no programa de proteção
So the fact that I am now in this protection program today
é porque eu vivo denunciando a expansão da soja na Amazônia,
is because
especificamente
I'm always
na cidade de Santarém.
showing and telling about the expansion of the soy in the Amazon, and especially in Santarém.
Só no ano fui vítima de 2 torturamentos.
In 1 year, I was victim of 2 torturing.
Por conta do setor madeireiro, respondi 8 processos durante 8 anos na justiça.
Because of the wood sector, I had justice processes in the justice, public justice.
Tive a casa queimada, casal de cachorro
They
morto pelo setor
burned my
madeireiro.
house, they killed my dogs.
Mas nada disso impede de eu lutar.
But
Só
that
me fortaleceu a minha vida, minha
doesn't keep me
luta.
from fighting, it just makes me stronger.
Hoje eu ando
Today,
em outros territórios
I
indígenas,
go around other territories, indigenous territories too,
formando equipe de vigilância,
making
Guardiões da
making
floresta.
groups of land forest guards
com apoio da Força da Floresta que nos deu,
with the support of forest forces.
com aparelho de GPS e câmeras,
We have now GPS cameras,
porque eu vejo que não é suficiente
because I see it's not enough
a gente registrar a imagem via satélite
to register these images through satellite
e nem
images,
filmar somente de drone.
and not only to film it with a drone.
Esses equipamentos,
These equipments,
eles só contribuem
They-
com os vigilantes
they only contribute with the guards,
porque quem fala para parar e fala que está errado é nós indígenas que vamos andando
because
e não o satélite.
the ones who really stop this to happen is we are the ones to stop this, because we walk the land, not a drone or satellites. We are there on the land.
E hoje a gente é procurado
And today, people look for us
para o estado do Pará, estado do Amazonas,
To the-
estado do Acre,
to the state of Pará, state of Amazon, state of Acre,
para expandir o conhecimento de
to
guardião da floresta.
expand the knowledge of these forest guards,
A gente,
guardians.
a gente já retirou empresa madeireira dentro do território.
We already acted taking the wood lockers from the territory.
Já conseguimos parar projeto de manejo,
We-
cancelar.
We managed to stop some managing projects that were going on. We canceled them.
Cancelamos mais de 8 cadastro ambiental rural
We
pelo governo do
canceled
estado.
about 8 rural cadasters that for the environment.
Mas infelizmente é um trabalho que nós fazemos
But
voluntário.
unfortunately, this is a voluntary work.
A gente não tem um fundo que é onde a gente possa tirar dali o dinheiro
We don't have
para
funds
fazer essas viagens.
to take the money to make these trips.
A gente vive de parceria
We live with partnership.
da organização do território
Also, we live from the partnerships and the organizations of the territory.
e agora de 2015 para cá,
And from 2015 on,
especificamente ano passado,
specifically last year,
a gente já consegue hoje ter um
now
apoio de combustível para o carro para a gente andar com policial.
we have support of gasoline, benzene to go around by car with these police people.
Esse apoio vem da Força da Floresta.
And this support comes from the forest forces.
Então eu quero dizer para todos
So I'd like to
que,
say to you all
que a luta de defesa da vida da Amazônia,
that the fight for defending the life of the Amazon,
a responsabilidade é nossa enquanto indígena,
it's our responsibility as indigenous people,
mas é de cada um de vocês
but
também.
also from each one of you,
Porque a floresta é uma casa,
because the forest is a house
e casa de todos.
and the house of everyone.
A terra é nossa mãe.
The earth is our mother.
Porque tudo que plantamos nela,
Because everything we plant in
ela
the earth,
retribui com uma facilidade
it
tão bom
gives
para
us
gente.
back easily.
Experimente plantando uma planta tão
Try-
preciosa no seu quintal,
Try to plant a little beautiful plant in your garden.
para você ver como ela vem linda.
You're going to see it's going to grow.
Então, para nós indígenas,
So for
terra
us,
é mãe
Indigenous people, the earth is our mother,
e floresta é casa.
and the forest our home.
Nesse momento,
At this moment,
gostaria de pedir para todos vocês que
I would
estão
like you
aqui,
to ask you all that are here now,
apesar de não conhecer todos,
although I don't know you,
conhecer uma
I
minoria,
just know some of you,
por ser pela primeira vez de estar aqui na capital de vocês,
and it's the first time I'm here in this capital.
mas me
City.
sinto também minha porque fui visitar 2 parques e encontrei floresta.
But I
Então,
feel that this capital is a little bit mine too, because I went to 2 parks and I saw 2 little forests here.
então onde tem floresta é a nossa casa, é
So
nosso
where there is a
quarto.
forest, it's my home too.
Aqui a gente estamos fazendo essa aliança
We are making an alliance here
de ajuda e apoio
of help and support
para que nós possamos desenvolver
so that we can develop
o nosso trabalho de proteção.
our protection work.
Esse trabalho de proteção não é fácil.
It's not an easy work.
A gente coloca a vida da gente em
We
risco,
put our lives in risk,
mas nem com tudo isso eu não consigo parar de lutar.
but I really cannot stop fighting.
Eu trabalhei 8 anos na escola, tive que sair porque ficava muito preso com carga horária.
I worked as a teacher for 8 years, but I had to stop doing that because of the time that it took for me.
E hoje só trabalho com vida,
And I'm only working with lives now,
levando saúde indígena para as aldeias indígenas,
taking indigenous health information to the land, indigenous
trabalho com
lands.
226 aldeias,
I work with 226 different villages,
28 mil indígenas
28,000 indigenous people
no estado do Pará.
in Pará State.
E trabalho hoje a proteção, educação e prevenção
Today I work with protection, education, and prevention
de território.
in the territory.
Quero terminar esse momento
I'd like to end my speech
com um pequeno poemazinho.
with a little poem.
Porque mesmo sendo ameaçado, a gente é feliz. Eu sou
Because
muito feliz.
even if when we are threatened, it doesn't matter. We are happy. I'm very happy.
E a minha maior felicidade é por lutar em defesa da floresta.
And my biggest happiness is to be able to fight and defend the forest.
A Amazônia pede socorro
Amazon asks for help
contra a invertida dos tubarões.
against the sharks investing.
As nossas terras não estão à venda,
Our land is not for sale,
nem a floresta foi ao leilão.
and the forest is not going to.
Ninguém se ilude com as
For sale.
promessas
Nobody gets eluded with the promises,
que o progresso só vai melhorar.
and that the progress is going to get better only.
E diga a soja, não queremos ela,
And say to the soy, we don't want you,
nem madeireira para nos explorar.
and we also don't want woodlockers to exploit us.
Nós defendemos o peixe-boi,
We defend the manatee is a fish. I don't know. Sorry.
as cachoeiras e os animais.
The waterfalls and the animals.
Os verdes que agora na Amazônia nós vemos,
The green that we see now in the Amazon,
aqui no Sudeste não se vê mais.
we don't see it in the south of the country anymore.
Nossa certeza é a vitória,
We are sure of our victory,
fruto da luta e da união.
which is the fruit of the fight and the union.
Com a ajuda dessas organizações,
with the help of these organizations,
essas grilagens acabarão. Surara!
these land grabbers will go.
Vai ter pergunta?
Indeed, a warm and standing applause for Chief Dada. Test. Once again, thank you so much, Chief Dada, for sharing your amazing story with us. And due to time, I'm going to jump in to announce the second keynote speaker for this evening, which is Esther Stanford-Xosei. Esther Stanford-Xosei is a reparations specialist, legal advisor, international advocate, political advisor, scholar, activist, media spokesperson, environmentalist, historian, educator, trainer, keynote speaker, and mentor, and perhaps many more things, as you can imagine. On a personal, political, and professional level, repairing the historical and ongoing damage to African people and Mother Earth motivates Esther Stanford-Xosei to do her work. She will explain more about the concept of reparations, why is it important, and why does it entail. A warm and big applause for Esther. The floor is yours.
Okay, I'm going to try and get up here. All right, let me take my glasses off. Wow, wow. Okay, do I just speak into the... Oh, is that better? Okay. It's such an honor and privilege to be here to join you today. Normally, I'd be in London commemorating this day as part of the Extinction Rebellion Internationalist Solidarity Network that I co-founded with colleagues in Extinction Rebellion, but I really couldn't turn down the invitation to come and be with you because we live in very perilous times when our coming together is required more than ever if we are to win. If we are to win this intergenerational, hundreds years long rebellion that our people have been waging to defend life, to defend our Mother Earth, and to restore balance to the world. So I'm going to share a little bit about reparations because reparations has been very central today, and there are so many connections with our work that we do. For myself, I define myself as a reparationist, which is a reparations scholar, activist, and campaigner, a decolonial reparationist, because reparations is, if you notice, everybody's talking about reparations now. And you get revolutionary tendencies and you get reformist tendencies. And what we're seeing with the success of our people's struggles is also the NGOization of reparations, which actually is about stripping it of its essence, its revolutionary potential in the true sense of the meaning of revolution, to make a turn. 360-degree turn, because we're heading to extinction. So we have to turn, we have to return to our ways. The ways that have been demonized for centuries as a result of our colonization and continued imperialism. And on this journey to repair as I prefer to say, because if you hear the word reparation in English, the root of that is repair. Repair. And repair is not money, which is what the talk about reparations has become. It's been reduced to a finite, doesn't matter how much trillions, or even the words, we haven't even probably come up with the sum yet. Doesn't matter how much that is, that's only 1% of what reparation is about. And I have to say, in my own journey as a reparationist, speaking at many gatherings like this, traveling around the world, engaging with different communities, listening to them, and also helping to encourage people to go back to their own source and their own center. Yeah? Because that is where we will find that long trajectory of what reparations really means. So in my own path, I have learned a lot from all Indigenous people. Yeah, and it's important that we learn from each other's struggles. So essentially then, because reparations has been so, the word that we would use in English is bastardized. I don't know what the equivalent would be in Dutch or any other language, but there is a need to repair even our notion of what we think reparations are. We have to repair the knowledges that we are promoting and the solutions that we are seeking on reparations, largely. And there's an Indigenous American scholar called Professor Rebecca Sosi, and she talks about the need to repair reparations. And she points out that for Indigenous peoples of Abya Yala, the framework for understanding the role of reparations for such people must be intercultural. It must also be intergenerational. It must also account for the different historical experiences of Indigenous people and nations with Europeans that colonized us, them, colonized our lands, and it must also address and inculcate Indigenous epistemologies, our knowledges. And I feel so thankful to be in a gathering with such distinguished people like our Chief Dada that we've just heard from. And so many, in truth, today who have been recentering and refocusing that conversation on repair. That repair that needs to happen first and foremost with our mother, our Earth Mother. That is the repair, this breach, this separation, that we have to stop that separation. Yeah? And if we don't do that, as I said, we'll be heading for extinction. And this isn't because a movement in 2018 in England started called Extinction Rebellion. This is something our people have been talking about for centuries, have been warning us, warning the world about what happens when we allow that Wetiko spirit, yeah, that cannibalizing spirit that has to eat up everything and devour everything and make everything in nature a commodity to be bought and sold. And everybody who stands in the way of that commodification then becomes a threat and their lives imperiled. So essentially, reparations is about repairing harm. But first of all, before we can repair the harm, we have to stop the harm. Yeah, and to all of today, we have been hearing not only about the resistance to the harm, but we've been hearing about what that harm is and how it continues. It's this many-headed hydra that has this insatiable desire and keeps on metamorphosizing itself into another global system. And so we have to be courageous enough, and that's what I'm calling on all of you here. All of you earth protectors, defenders of life, guardians of the forest, freedom fighters, wisdom keepers. You have to be at the forefront of this global remembering that is happening, this process of coming back together again. And the peoples of the world who know that language and who live that reality, actually unifying our own power base. Because reparations are not something that someone gives you. Reparations is something that we must do. We must be that change that we desire to see and be in the world. And it's through that process that we then are able to catalyze other peoples of conscience around the world who are looking to us, looking to you as Indigenous people to show the way again. So rather than us now resign ourselves to a world that is not of our creation, we have to go back to that path that all our people were on prior to colonization. That path of returning to our source and of actually instituting values and principles by which we should be governing ourselves. So reparations are necessary because colonization continues. Settler colonialism continues. Land dispossession continues. Genocide continues. Ecocide continues. That is why reparations are necessary. And reparations are becoming that clarion call of the majority of humanity. We, the global majority, not the global minority, that is causing this harm. And we must fight this fight because it's an ancestral fight. And every one of us that is here today, that has been born for such a time as this, has to fulfill our mission and duty, or we betray it. And let us not be betrayers and desecrators of our people's memory and our people's resistant struggles. Let us not do that. So we carry that intergenerational trauma. We carry that transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. But that inheritance is not just one of trauma. It's also that one of resilience and resistance, and that carries within it, in our DNA, a knowledge of who we should be, but also what we must do. Now, all that we have spoken about today through the 1492 People's Tribunal and beyond, all these criminals that we can hold to account, but we cannot do that if we are not actually free to live our people's truth. And so really the call to repair is a call to action. It is a call for us to be the change. It is a call for us to build our people's power so that we can not only make the world and remake the world, but we can also take back everything that continues to be stolen from us, extracted from the bowels of our Mother Earth, and deprive us of the necessary tools and resources that we need to live and to sustain ourselves into the future as a people that are past, present, and future at the same time. Now, we must recall that in the 1948 Genocide Convention, the term genocide, as we know, coined by Dr. Raphael Lemkin, he was very interested in how you destroy people, how you destroy groups. And that's why he came up with genocide. But most people have a very restricted notion of what genocide is. Raphael Lemkin, in his axis of rule in terms of Europe, what he wrote, he said that genocide has two phases. One, the destruction of the national pattern of the oppressed group, meaning the institutions that we need to continue ourselves. Our institutions are economies, our healthcare institutions, our governance institutions, our family institutions, how we sustain ourselves into the future. Now, the other aspect of genocide is the imposition of the national pattern of the oppressor. Yeah? The oppressor's way of thinking, seeing, being, and doing, and living in the world. And their value system that lives on in us, that we have to stamp out first and foremost. Because it is then that other people in the world will also wake up to their own historic mission and duty. And this includes the children of the colonizers as well. Yeah? So we have to eradicate all those alien systems and values that we have internalized in many of our home countries. And when I look at it, I think, coming from the UK, being born in the UK, not coming from there, come from Africa, but recognizing this little small island called the United Kingdom that at one point colonized 3/4 of planet Earth. And if we look at all of us in this room, I know Britain had a hand in it somewhere amongst the European family of nations, right? The elites, of course. So imagine now when we turn that system on its head, when we are courageous enough to stand up, and yes, we are losing people, but we are going to leave this earth anyway. The question is, how do we choose to live? And what do we want to be remembered for? And what do we want to be our legacy? Because when one of us goes, we know they go into the realm of the ancestors to continue to fight and prepare the next generation of warriors to come to this earth. So we shouldn't fear death. Death is a part of life. We shouldn't fear it. So we should stand up, rise up, do what we need to do in order to take back the reins of power and control and that system of dominion that is imperiling not only our lives, but the lives of all our relations, human and non-human. Because the colonization now has gone into the realm of the atmosphere, which is why so many are talking and organizing to avert the worldwide climate and ecological crisis, which is killing us first. The Amazon, the Congo, West Papua, all over the world, where we find our people protecting earth, protecting land, protecting life. That is what we see. So this world is ours. And reparations is about taking back our world. It's not about someone giving us some money so that they can pay us off for despoiling our mother, for raping our mother. So I got 2 minutes left. So reparations, in some of the thinking of some of my African teachers, leaders and guides, Professor Malena Karenga argues that reparations is a process of the repairing and the remaking of a people who are in the process and practice of repairing, renewing, and remaking the world. Now, that notion of remaking the world, other people have it. Hebrews call it tikkun olam. Yeah? That's what it's called, to repair the world and to leave it more beautiful and more beneficial than what we have found it. So all people need to go back into their own knowledge and wisdom traditions and restore those knowledges of how we live in harmony, not only with each other, but with the rest of nature and also our Mother Earth. And some of us have begun to conceptualize a holistic notion of repair that we refer to in English as planet repairs. In the Kemetan tongue, we call it Saruj Ta, which is to remake and restore the earth, making it more beautiful than what it was when we came onto it. That is why we are here, why we have been born, okay? And this notion of planet repairs is this nexus between reparatory justice, environmental justice, and cognitive justice. Because one of the things that colonization does is it kills our knowledge systems, the epistemicide. It doesn't just kill people. It kills our memory, our people's memory, our people's story. And remember, our story, your story, is a record of resistance and our struggle to humanize the world. That is what it is. So when we destroy a people's knowledge, their story, their memory, we leave people captive to become footnotes in the annals of the stories of their colonizers. So the message is really only we can heal and restore and repair ourselves. And that means restoring our sovereignty. But that has to be premised on earth sovereignty. Because where we see this separation in terms of my nation, remember, we were all one. We were all one. And these differences and divisions are so that we can come to know ourselves again and know who we are as a divine people. So that's all I can say. I've been told to wrap up. Thank you.
A warm applause indeed. Thank you so much. So we're going to start with welcoming you back from the breakout sessions. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I had some amazing conversations. So I would like the facilitators of the different, please be quiet. So we're going to start. Please be quiet. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to ask the facilitators to give a brief, if 1 minute will be possible, that would be awesome, about your session. And may I ask on the left side with Shiro.
We had a session about indigenous dreams, in specific the indigenous dreams of 9 women of the expo that is outside. We did a collective exercise, meditation, we sang together, and we did split up circles of sharing our dream. And then finally, 8 of the 9 women got on stage and shared a little bit. There were tears. If you want to hear the full story of the dreams, get the magazine. the magazine is around the corner, and it has the stories of the 9 indigenous women living here in the Netherlands for our dreams forward.
Awesome. Applause. Thank you. Thank you, Chiro. Leander.
Okay, I had a good talk with Olivia Williams and Malika Silei. It was an intergenerational dialogue, and we exchanges our experiences as indigenous people here in the Netherlands, and what challenges we have on our path to live with our culture. So it was very, very, very nice.
Thank you. Applaus.
Maar dat is niet beter volgens mij.
Thank you, Leander. Ciao to Leo.
Okay, I think it was an amazing meeting because there were many like sharings, also concrete actions, like how can we make sure we can echo the stories? How can we make sure we understand the stories? So it starts with sharing information. So I heard something about the 4 multinationals who are responsible for the destruction of the Amazon, and all have like connections with the Netherlands. So it's good for us to understand it. So as Arles, we're going to share the information for us to have a moving forward there. But the other thing I want to share is this is a group. You can see them. I think they are there. You can see them, right? And you know what is happening now? Their photos are being used. Their photos are being used for other purposes. They are being requested for many events, but they don't get paid. And then, you know what? Do you know where they do their rehearsals? Outside, under a bridge. Because they don't have money to do their performances. They don't have money to go to do the rehearsals. So we are talking about solidarity, and we are talking about to do it locally. But those people, they don't have a place to rehearse. So is there something we can do is to make sure we don't understand, the personal takeaways, but we do act. So they are looking for a place for rehearsals in Zuidoost. And yes, they don't have money to hire or to do something for rent. So if there's anything I can emphasize, it's not only their story, but also the story of Chief Dada. He's looking for very concrete funding, like boats. He wants to have a speedboat because, of course, it's dangerous over there. And if you have a canoe, how can you get away easily? You don't. So very concrete questions are being raised. So this is the QR code, and they won't perform without you going to your microphone and do your tikkie.
So very practical. We're not here to only consume the subject, right? We're here to support as well. I mean, we understand. If you're financially not able to donate, that's fine. Come to me. We can maybe give you a drink. But for those who are able, I've tested it. It works. And so far, we have about 700 donations. Varying. Someone gave 200. Really generous. Wow. And the rest varies between 5, 50, 75. You have some time now to click it, and every time there's 30 hits, like the Tiki Link blocks, and then a new comes. So the first one was blocked, we're in the second one. So we want to have one other round. We see a lot of smartphones.
So we wait.
One other round.
We wait.
Of Tiki
and
to
for
be
you
refreshed.
to do your Tiki, and then they're performing. So please, I don't see any movements now. So where's the microphone? So we just wait. Yeah, we wait.
Thank you, Ciao to Leo. I want to go to the next one. Ali, please, to give a brief summary about your session.
Yes, can we give this fantastic festival a huge applause first? So I had the pleasure and honor to moderate the session about indigenous cultures of resistance. The 3 takeaways that I want to share with you is, first of all, that I've learned. First of all, that indigenous culture is, in a way, a more sustainable and more humane alternative to the mainstream cultures that we live in today, because it respects nature and it respects communities. The second thing that I've learned is that oppression of a people can only occur if their culture is broken and their language is stolen, which is why cultural resistance is so key to the movement. And the third thing that I've learned... And the third thing that I've learned is that the three speakers that we had produce fantastic indigenous art that is just a joy for anyone looking or listening to it. And I just want to give them a round of applause, and if they can stand when they hear their name, Mira, Yero, and Roberto. If you're too shy to stand up, don't worry, we'll give you an applause anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. May I give the word to Navaya?
One thing in between. This really worked well. Lisa, you need to refresh the tiki. It worked. Thank you. So if you can do that. Okay, go on.
Thank you. May I give the word to Navaya to give a brief update about her session? Thank you.
Yes, I gave a workshop about intergenerational trauma, and my takeaway from tonight was how beautiful we all are in our own specific ways. So let's start there. The other part in it is that true healing really starts with what we do for ourselves. So let's start here and then move out in the world and start healing together. Also, one thing, one of the participants asked me after the workshop, what does healing mean? So I would like to clarify what I feel healing means. Healing for me means that every external situation, every external part of my life does not control my choice, right? So let's choose healing. Thank you.
Woo! Yes, I want to thank the facilitators for their briefing and wrap up, and then I want to thank you, and I want to ask Ciao to Leo and Max to stay on the stage and to give a short first impression about the third Indigenous Liberation Day. As lead organizers, a warm applause, everybody.
I want you to take a look at your left and then go to the right. What do you see? Indigenous. I want you to remember this, because this is something that is unique in the Netherlands. And we're going to move forward, because liberation, maybe it takes a century to be liberated. Maybe it takes 7 generations to be liberated. But if we don't start, when and by who? So this is I think now I'm so happy to be here, and I want you also to say something. But take another look at your left and another look at your right. I feel the love. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you. Yeah, all that I can share of today, that I really love the efforts that everyone brought in. Like, we are growing every year, so this is our 3rd edition. And I remember the first time, the climate movement, we had to explain the word indigenous. What is 12th of October? Second year, it was, they didn't put it in their agenda, they had their own actions. And this year, more and more people are showing up and thinking, how can we change the way we work to change the power structures that is, you know, reproduced in the movement. So I think really trying to put your efforts in it, to bring back, to think how can you make your workplace also the place where you implement change. It's not something you only have to do in your free time. Like, I work at the Pakhuis, I use the place as Pakhuis to facilitate platform. Maybe you're a teacher, you can use it as a teacher. So depending where you are, think of it, there's different talents. Not everyone is a dancer, not everyone is a teacher. But what are you? What is your contribution? What can it be? And that's for everybody, it's different. Maybe it's not speaking. It can be something else. Like this morning, just very practical. We were like, you know, chit-chatting, who's bringing the piñata to be on the tribunal. I was on a bike with a big castle. You know, so we need people like creative, making castles. There's a lot of ways to contribute, you know. So I just wanted to tell you, like, from the heart, try to see what you can contribute from where you are. So don't leave, you know, and then forgetting about it. But see if you can connect with people. There's a reason you all came today. See if you can form coalitions here today. Use this moment as well. And I think you wanted to add something. Okay, but that's it. That's it. So thank you all for coming.
Do you see that date? That's my birthday, but that's not what I wanted to say. That's also a very important day for Brazil, because there might be a change in policy. There might be. But if it doesn't happen the way how we want to be, at least we can support Chief Dada, because it will be when it's not going to be happy, when we are not going to be happy, it can be a hell for indigenous over there. So that's why I chose 30th of October, because that's the day of the elections. So that it will be D-Day for Chief Dada. So it will be, the Tiki will be online, will be active until that day. So let's hope we're going to translate our solidarity into something good. And that's his takeaway. So Chaltimai, thank you.
Thank you so much. A warm applause for Max and Chautuleo. And before I'm going to announce the wonderful dance group over here, I want to underline my journey after I met Max de Ploeg and his network, the people here. A proud, practical, educated guy, an activist, a civil servant, representing more than 1.8 million indigenous West Papuans through our campaign. The largest tropical island has the third largest rainforest. It's because people like Max and Chautuleo brought people like you together. And that's where the magic happens. So I think I don't have to underline the feelings you had during the conversation and during the day. And that's exactly what change means. Bringing people together, hearing stories, and move forward together. And I will close it here. So now I'm delighted to introduce our first group, Kurizara. During the last hour, there will be a collective closing with 2 indigenous cultural groups performing. The first group is Kurizara, meaning golden maize. Kurizara's dance performances are a reflection of the customs and traditions of the indigenous peoples of Ecuador. They are made to thank Pachamama, Mother Earth, for the harvest and all that she gives us. Also to the Inti, sun, that watches us and divides the different calendars, festivities in the year. Their clothing of costumes are designed by nature, with all shapes, colors, and images where we come from. Their goal as a group is to pass on the cultural heritage of their ancestors to the younger generations through these dances, performances, and share the culture with a broader audience. A big applause. Yes, yes, yes. Dance group Kurizara. We enjoyed. Thank you, dance group Kurizara. They will come back after a musical song by Wayamu. Wayamu Warayan is a women's cultural Sambura collective. Wayamu Warayan means female turtles. They stand for unity and love towards indigenous cultures. They consist of 12 women and were founded in 2019. They make use of traditional songs and instruments, such as Sambura, Maraca, Krawasi, and Aremi. They will play music for us the upcoming half an hour. Please give it up for Wayamu. An applause.
En er komt er een man.
Hey, inderdaad. Mag ik aan de man de mic geven?
Ja, doe maar even. Goedenavond, iedereen spreekt Nederlands, hoop ik. Want als ik het met mijn beste Engels moet proberen, wordt het een hele lachwekkende avond. Goedenavond, mijn naam is Dwight. Ik ben de enige man tussen de vrouwelijke schildpadjes. En het is goed toeven tussen de vrouwelijke schildpadjes. Wayamu is een inheemse groep uit Amsterdam en vertegenwoordigt eigenlijk alle groepen die in Suriname bekend zijn en eigenlijk in Zuid-Amerika. Dan praten we over de Lokono, de Kalinya, Warau, Wayana, dankjewel. Is een hele mooie groep trouwens. En de trio's, heel erg mooi, heel erg belangrijk om al die groepen te vertegenwoordigen en te mogen vertegenwoordigen hier. Jullie zien de dames nog niet, de Wayamoetjes. Ja, een schildpad is niet zo snel, dus ik ga ze eventjes roepen. Wayamu oweko moroko warena. O wayamu oweko moroko warena. O wayamu oweko moroko warena. Ik heb de Wayamoetjes geroepen. Ik noem ze altijd Wayamoetjes hoor. Dat mag ik eigenlijk niet doen, maar ik vind het zo leuk. Ja. Anani Chundai Owanje. Ik heb je gehoord, ik kom eraan. Dat hebben ze geantwoord. Kamako. We gaan even de opstelling veranderen. De instrumenten zijn altijd voor de groep. En wat is vooral niet de bedoeling van dat jullie zitten. Dat is niet de bedoeling. Ja, want jullie hebben lang genoeg gezeten. Het is de bedoeling dat je gewoon opstaat. En als je het wilt doen, zoals de voorouders het deden en nog steeds eigenlijk doen, dan hou je elkaar de handen vast. Als je elkaar nou kent of niet, dat maakt niet uit. Want Sambora staat voor saamhorigheid. En de saamhorigheid draag je gewoon uit door elkaar de handen vast te houden. En ja, in goed Surinaam zeggen we brokokini, dat betekent dat je door de knieën gaat. Zie het als een, hoe zal ik dat in normaal Nederlands zeggen? Dat je kan erdoor raken in een transsituatie, als je het lang genoeg volhoudt.
Yes, of course.
Maar dat gaan we hier niet doen, hoor. Ja? Maar voel je vrij om het wel te doen. Wat staat iedereen? Prachtig. Iedereen staat. Ja, iedereen. Meneer is hier? Ja? We moeten gesprek zijn? Oké. We gaan even groeten en we gaan even in gebed. Maar hou vooral elkaar handen gewoon vast nogmaals. Het maakt niet uit als je de buurman of de buurvrouw kent of niet. We zijn hier één familie. Ja?
Wayamu ya ni chundai, ni chundai oye. Wayamu ya ni chundai, ni chundai oye. Aporo oye. Yakuande ni chundai. Wayande ni chundai.
Dat doet het denk ik niet meer. Hij doet het niet. Oh, hij doet het wel.
Zo. Ik weet zeker dat jullie vanmorgen zijn opgestaan en niet hadden gedacht dat jullie zoveel zouden bewegen. Maar jullie doen het goed. Jullie geven ons de power, de energie. En ik hoop dat wij ook een klein beetje aan jullie geven. Even een beetje drinken, want het is geen Spotify. Ja, het is arbeid. Het is een waar genoeg om hier te mogen zijn. Horen jullie me? Ik kan er weinig aan doen. Ja, ik zie een duimpje, dus het is nu geregeld. Het is een waar genoeg om hier te mogen zijn. Het is een eer om hier te mogen zijn. Als we kijken naar de toestand van de Indigenous People. Dat het, laat me het maar gewoon zeggen zoals het in mijn hoofd zit, beestachtig eraan toe gaat, is gewoon een feit. En dat moet gewoon gaan stoppen. En niet morgen, maar vandaag. En bijeenkomsten zoals deze, die de zaak in een spotlight zetten, die hebben we gewoon nodig wereldwijd. Anders komen we er niet. Het is niet iets wat we alleen kunnen, daar hebben we iedereen bij nodig. Yes? Dus keep on spreading the message. Keep on spreading the love, want zonder de indigenous gaat het niet goed komen. Komt niet goed. Yes? Iemand gaat mij hiervan verlossen nu? ja, we gaan groeten, want we gaan weer weg. Ja, jammer, want ik begon net warm te worden. Maar lekker is maar 1 vinger lang, zeggen ze. Dus we gaan er weer vandoor. En ik hoop jullie snel weer te zien. En keep on doing the good work. Keep on doing right things. Yes? Oké.
Inderdaad, warm en groot applaus voor Wayamu. Nog eenmaal een groot applaus voor Wayamu. Eén groet. Oké, ze willen een groet doen. En daar geven we natuurlijk de ruimte voor. We give the space for that, for the greetings. Go ahead. Wayamu. Wayamu, dank jullie wel. Wat een energie. What an energy. We can't deny that. What an energy. And a sport moment for all of us, I think. Eh? All right, and then we come to our last performance for this evening before we enter the closing words part. Once again, the Kuri Zara group with their second performance. Can I have a big applause for Kuri Zara? Yes. Woo, woo, woo. Kurizara, woo, woo. Woo. Thank you so much. Woo. Yes, yes, yes. What an energy, what a spirit. And this is how we reach the end. All right, they want to do a greeting as well, so we give them that opportunity, of course.
The idea is, sorry, I have to translate, but the idea is they want you to dance with them. So we're going to play half of the song, but this time you have to stand up and dance with them. You've seen how the dance goes, right? You can do it now. Cecile, je kan het nummer starten.
All right. Amazing, amazing. Testing. Mike. All right. There was an epic closing of the dance performances. Applause for them. Kurizara, thank you so much. And if you wanted to support them, they have handmade bracelets. You can buy them in the home. And I want to close this by thanking everybody for supporting Indigenous Liberation Day. On behalf of Pakhuis de Zwijger, Areles, Washikwa, Free West Papua Campaign, Mabika's Foundation, Amerikaanse Holocaust, Milieudefensie, Fonds voor Creatieve Industrie, AFK Amsterdam, and media partner New Eye. But also to all the volunteers and different teams that made today possible. And not the least important, you all as participants to the end, a big applause for yourself.